Hello there once again, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Victorious Ones podcast. It's back when I don't feel right, if I don't. As a matter of fact, I really gotta get certified now. So really feel official. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Victorious Ones podcast, the place where gaming meets comics, meets sports, meets movies, as well as inspiration. Of course, I'm your host, King Von Jr. You can follow me on social media on Twitter /X at 301 King Von Jr. I'm officially, of course, officially verified. You know what I mean? And of course, you can follow the show's Twitter page at Victory Pod 1. You can also follow me on Instagram at Mr. King Von Jr. You can follow the show's Instagram page at Victorious Ones podcast. I'm also the social media producer for the unpopular review wrestling show Perfect Plex Talk Radio. Of course, on Mondays at 6 p.m. And so of course, like I said, before I go even further, before I even get anything like that, this past Monday was a very special birthday. Of course, I'm getting ahead of myself when it comes to birthday shout outs, but of course, this is one where I'm going to make an exception. Happy birthday to, of course, none other than Corey, aka the Belt King, aka the Belt Emperor, the man of 1,000 belts, championship belts. And people think I have a lot, and I only got 3. This dude got 14, 15, 16 of them or something like that. But yeah, special birthday shout out to him. He turned the big 4-0. You know what I mean? So I know he's definitely the big age now. So like I say, I give happy birthday to him. But of course, I want to run down some of the usuals when it comes to the weekend wrestling, when it comes to Smackdown, Raw, NXT, just as far as sort of like the highlights, if you will, of those, like I say, of those particular shows. Of course, I want to say congratulations to, of course, Team USA in all areas of the Olympics. The Olympic, this 2024 Olympics was amazing. So, just in regards to, just give you a brief wrap up of that as well as like I said, as well as D23, which took place this past week. Disney 23 Expo. And of course, a lot of big reveals, bombshells and things like that, much like San Diego Comic-Con. But yeah, like I said, of course. Like I say, for those that are watching by way of Facebook Live, thank you. And of course, for those even for those who may be watching the recording later on. And of course, also Smackdown results. Talking really, dive deeper, dive deeper when it comes to my analysis of it, of SmackDown. And I know that this SmackDown certainly one that you did not want to miss. You know what I mean? And of course, so of course, the main thing that really made this SmackDown special was the return of the OTC himself, the original Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. And so, as a matter of fact, that this SmackDown is the Roman show. Whether we admit it or not, even WWE itself is very much the Roman show. And we're all just here for the ride. And hold on. As a matter of fact, right back. But yeah, actually, brief little break. But yeah, of course, I'm back for more. Like I say, very quick break. But yeah, like I said, as far as that, of course, as of August 9th, 2024, Roman return. And Cody Rhodes made an appearance himself as well. Like I say, as a matter of fact, of course, SmackDown took place this Friday this Friday in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and so of course, things start off like gorilla positions. Byron Saxton is backstage with the Street Profits, of course, BFAB says the Street Profits, of course, motivated, determined, are absolutely on point. So, of course, in sarcastic fashion, Montez congratulates the Bloodline on winning the championships, but he says that the real chief, tribal chief, the original tribal chiefs come back, of course, referring to Roman Reigns. And of course, Angelo Dawkins brings up the fact that it's been 3 years. It's a Street Profits held gold, and so that is a drought for as talented a team as the Street Profits are to go that long without a championship. It's pretty problematic, but at the same time, look who had a stranglehold on the titles, Usos. You know what I mean? So the better bloodline, if you will, the superior bloodline. So that explains why they have been on they've been on a drought. Just because of the dominance of this bloodline, the original bloodline saga. Everything else had to take a back seat, right? And so if anything, that's what put a ceiling on their chances of of any more championship gold. But now that we've seen cracks in the bloodline's armor, I believe that now is the time for them to to get a chance to reclaim what was rightfully theirs for the longest time. And so of course, after Angelo Dawkins says all that's stands in the way is A Town Down Under, of course, meaning Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. And so of course they sell this with a number one contenders match for the WWE Tag Team titles. Street Profits, Street Profits versus A Town Down Under. Of course, Street Profits with BFAB by their side, and sorry about that. So of course, like seeing in the Sun, this match was pretty solid, and so of course, like I said, great tag team chemistry, better tag team chemistry. With the Street Profits, of course, and as they won with the blockbuster Doomsday for the win, and the winners, of course, the winners of this match were number one contenders of the Street Profits, rightfully so. And so next up, we see Cody Rhodes backstage, talking to Smackdown general manager Nick Aldis in his office. We also see Kevin Owens there and saying, talking about how he doesn't deserve a title shot. And so he's, of course, Nick Aldis says that they're considering Roman Reigns for a title shot. But at the same time, even though KO said he himself didn't deserve a title opportunity, he was not happy to hear about that himself. About that news himself. And so, the thing, of course, KO brings up the fact he doesn't care that that Roman been champ for 4 years. Somehow he's always had help, and talking about the rematch clause that hadn't been enforced in years. And so this when he tells Nick Aldis to go to the locker room and find someone more deserving than Roman. And so of course Nick Aldis says he doesn't have to go to the locker room. And of course Cody Rhodes sees it, the crowd sees it, and Nick Aldis sees it. So of course, therefore, even though KO feels he doesn't deserve it, everyone else thinks otherwise. So because of that, of course, Aldis makes it Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens for the undisputed WWE Championship. Makes that championship match official for Bash in Berlin. And so, of course, but like I said, after that, then that's when we get the segment with the WWE Women's Champion Nia Jax. Of course, backstage we see the Money in the Bank winner Tiffany Stratton. Somebody about Nia's decorations, and then Pre Deadly comes up to Tiffany and asks if she'll plan a party for them when they win the WWE Tag Team Championships. Strong effort, but of course they're thinking about doing a musical, but of course Tiffany, obviously blew them off, and what's kind of numbers right now as far as the stream, but yeah, like I said, as far as that, of course, initially they're thinking about doing a musical, of course, with the idea to just brush them off. And then she walks down the hall, where she's stopped by Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, and then of course, Chelsea criticizes Tiffany's wardrobe choice and decorations, and actually asked if of course, Tiffany asked Chelsea if she had a ladder to fall off, which of course is a clap back to that Money in the Bank ladder match, and she says that Chelsea's delusional and just continues to storm off. And of course, we see, last week, Alba Fire Aladdin joined forces with Blair Davenport, as they cost, as they cost Bianca and Jade, the tag team titles. And of course, in the arena, Jade Cargill made her entrance alongside Bianca Belair. As Jade was going to be in action coming in, as Jade was, getting ready for an upcoming match. So of course, we see Jade Cargill with Bianca Belair versus Alba Fire, accompanied by Aladdin. And the winner of this match, Jade Cargill. So of course, during this match, this one Naomi runs up for the save. We finally see her after the longest time. I guess her and her Odyssey Jones probably have a record for the longest time in catering. Probably like the long record for the longest time in catering. You know what I mean? And as far as that, maybe at the same time, who's going to blame me? She's staying in catering that long. I hear that the food's pretty good over there anyway. So, I guess you got the slash chicken tenders and mac and cheese and salmon or something like that. Whatever what they have catering anyway. So, but other than that, it's neither here nor there. Naomi comes in for the save, and so of course it's Fire and Dawn tried to cut her off until Jay Cargill crushes out the Fire with a big boot. So as far as that. Like I said, once again, he went about a thing called Jay Cargill, and then of course after that, we hear from the United States champion LA Knight, and so of course LA Knight makes way to the ring, and of course the camera points salute for forming of course the original Incredible Hulk back in the 70s, 80s. And of course, LA Knight, it's his patent, let me talk to you, you know what I mean? And so as far as that, that's when LA Knight just goes off with some tangents on talking about walking in, hitting the quitter, just obviously messing with this to a whole lot of James Brown on the way to the arena, I guess, if you will. But yeah, of course after that, of course, the day ends up getting interrupted by Santos Escobar, along with the Legado del Fantasma by his side. So where Santos sarcastically congratulates LA Knight. Of course, then he tells his crowd and LA Knight that they suck. Obviously, that's what typical heel was doing, right? But he says that the Knight's going to be in the spotlight for a brief moment, but it's going to be there's open act, but this is going to be the open act to his reign. And so, of course, he says that he is the one who truly deserves to be United States champion. So as far as anything says Escobar, C, like LA Knight, yeah, you know what I mean? And so of course LA Knight, saying he couldn't hear what Santos was saying because Tulsa was telling him that he sucks. And of course after that, Andrade makes his way to the ring. He's going to face Santos Escobar in the more contenders match for the United States Championship. So this is next up the match itself. Santos Escobar with Legado del Fantasma versus Andrade. The winner of this match, Santos Escobar, who is now the new number one contender for LA Knight's United States Championship. And of course, all right, but of course, along with that, of course, last week on Smackdown, the Bloodline defeated DIY to win the WWE Tag Team Championships, and there's even a video that pays tribute to Kevin Sullivan. Rest in peace, Kevin Sullivan. Kevin Sullivan, the Taskmaster of Wrestling, passed away at 75. So he's been a very influential, impactful figure in the history of wrestling itself. So of course. Of course, next up we have a tag team championship match, number one contenders tag team championship match with DIY versus Pretty Deadly. The winners of this match, DIY. So of course, last but not least, the final segment of the night, or at least final segment of promo of the night, as we get back to commercial, is we see the bloodline in the ring, and then Solo tells the fans to acknowledge him. Fans continue to chant "We want Roman," and so he's, of course, tells Roman that in case he hadn't noticed that he's the new tribal chief. And Roman calls himself the tribal chief. He wants to follow back the red tribal necklace. And he says they can come together from it. So of course, this is when Roman's music hits, and of course the fans just have a major ovation. They just raise their hands, and the area raise up their ones. You know what I mean? Of course, Roman Reigns comes out and Solo tells Tama Tonga. Sends Tama Tonga towards Roman. Of course, Roman knocks him off the clothesline, grabs Tonga low, and goes into the steel steps on the outside, and grabs steps and hits both Tonga low and Tama Tonga with him. And Roman looks at Solo in the ring, and the fans chant OTC. And by the way, the OTC shirt looks amazing. As a matter of fact, I think so as a matter of fact, I just got finished ordering my own OTC shirt, and look forward to getting it in the mail. Like I said, that shirt is absolutely fire. And of course, side note, I'm actually going to go to Smackdown next week when it comes to DC. So of course, I like I said that. That shirt is absolutely amazing. And by the way, the thing about it is, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna say salute to the cast from the Ring of Wrestling show and the Masked Man show. And of course, I listened to his recent episode. He was saying the thing about those Roman shirts is that those statements are true. Like for instance, it says OTC, the original tribal chief, the needle mover. As far as that, another one, at the head of the table, these different Roman phrases on these shirts ring true. He is the head of the table. He is the original tribal chief. He is still the needle mover, even without the championship, even without the championship right now. And of course, he is, so where's he? Solo, the combination right hands, Solo is in the big boot. He runs towards Roman. Roman hits him with a Superman punch. Goes for the spear. Tonga lower drags Solo to the outside to save him from Roman's wrath. And so Roman looks at the necklace that's on the mat, grabs it with Tonga, hits Roman from behind. Tonga low gets in the ring, and he kicks Roman, but of course Tonga grabs the necklace and gives Solo to the outside. The Roman is a Superman punch on both Tama Tonga and Tonga low. And then of course Roman is Tonga low with the spear. As the fans continue to chant OTC as an original tribal chief. And then, of course, Roman has some more unfinished business. In this case, with Tama Tonga, you go stay outside the ring. He spears Tama Tonga through the barricade. Then grabs steel chain, his Tonga lower across his back. And so of course, Solo wears that necklace, the fallen necklace, and tells Roman that he's the tribal chief now. And of course, Roman repeatedly his Tonga lower with the steel chair, the Smackdown goes up here. And like I said, just to see Roman get this type of ovation, after his comeback is remarkable. And as a matter of fact, I firmly believe that the same people who booed Roman for years are now Roman supporters. They are now, acknowledging, if you will, Roman's greatness. They're now waking up and smelling the coffee, right? And we have said this before. Roman Reigns has been booed for 75% of his career. And it wasn't until he became the tribal chief and transformed the trajectory of his career and had a historic championship run, one of the top 5 greatest single title reigns in WWE history. One of the top 5 greatest single WWE Championship reigns in WWE history. His headline countless WrestleManias. You know, and it wasn't until for many people, it wasn't until he became the tribal chief that they would truly acknowledge him and respect him. But the funny thing about that is that eventually the people started to get fatigue from it, right? But what's crazy is, like I said before, Roman has been booed for roughly about 75% of his career, and it wasn't until he took a hiatus after losing the championship. Now people were chanting, "We want Roman." It took him losing the championship for y'all to say, "We want Roman." It took him losing the title after a historic 4-year run to be like, we want Roman. And the same ones who I firmly believe were the Cody Crybabies that The Rock was talking about. Some of y'all are the same ones who are out here talking about some, "We want Roman, we want Roman." This, that, and third. Otherwise, y'all would have wanted nothing to do with him. But I will say this though, I believe that this is the face turn, that WWE has worked so hard to give Roman. But the thing about it is that at first it was, forced. It was force fed. It was, not well received. During his first face, during his original face run, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't very very well received, and it definitely hurt his stock for a while, right? Especially for someone who was supposed to be the successor for John Cena, right? It's the same Roman originally that was out here saying "suffer succotash," things like that, and like I said, Roman who struggled on the microphone. That was his biggest flaw. His biggest weakness historically had usually been, like I said, before he became the tribal chief, where was his lack of mic skills. But now he has more than made up for that. Like I said, Roman has grown by leaps and bounds in that department. So there's, nobody can make up anything else. Nobody can make up any other excuses, as to why they don't like Roman. At this point, if you don't like Roman, that's just your choice. There's nothing about him that can give you this, that can make you have the same criticism as before. From tribal chief on down, this is a massive transformation. And the thing about it is that the way that WWE has been so careful in the way that they've crafted this character, they have been strategic. They have been, meticulous when it comes to the way that they craft this character, the way they present him. You know what I mean? Like, they definitely make him out to be an attraction, right? But at the same time, like seeing Roman's going through his previous trials and tribulations and things like that before he has gotten to where he is now. I know there have been people that have compared, Roman's pop, crowd pop to that of Austin 316. With of course, with the broken glass. I know a lot of people that compared to that. First and foremost, there'll never be another Austin 316. That is once in a lifetime. It can never be repeated. People want to compare, but that's something that you cannot. That's hard to repackage and to recreate, right? But at the same time, Roman still has a massive audience in and of his own right. That doesn't take away from Roman's greatness at all whatsoever. But the thing is, Roman is in his own lane, right? But the thing is, the way they carefully, crafted Roman as a character, pretty much, from jump at this point. Like I said, but at the same time, like I said, he's gone through his own trials and tribulations, much like his predecessors before him. Of course, John Cena, starting off as a prototype, being the Dr. Thugonomics, course, overcoming all those boos and things like that to become the icon that he is now, right? So so, it's just, Cena can definitely relate. The Rock, um, starting off as Rocky Maivia with the pineapple haircut, um, looked like he came out in 1986, and of course going through those chants of die, Rocky sucks, and things like that, and to see him have the metamorphosis that he had to become, what he had, to become who he's become ever since, right? So of course that, along with Stone Cold, you know, um, originally coming in as the ringmaster, that backfired, and then it wasn't until, like I said, that King of the Ring night in 1996 where he unleashed the Austin 316, nuclear bomb on the world of wrestling, and we haven't looked back ever since, right? So they've, like I said, each of them have gone through, like I said, their share of transformations and trials and tribulations, and Roman um, has certainly gone through this as well. As I mentioned, before, as Big Dog Roman, suffering succotash, and just having the rug pulled out from underneath him, time and time again, but during that time, and then by the time you get to 2020, and and the thing is, that pandemic break definitely worked for him because he was able to really focus on his craft. WWE, they didn't have the distractions of the fans telling him that he sucks and all kind of stuff like that, and so uh, they were really able to sort of go into the lab and create this Frankenstein, if you will, if you want to call him that. But yeah, like I said, and the thing about it is that once again it proves that this is Roman Reigns' world, and we're all living in it. Even though Cody's champion right now, but when you look at someone who is the ultimate needle mover, who's the ultimate merch mover, numbers wise, it's consistently Roman Reigns. And even though Cody's the champion, and like I said, of course, he's definitely making his impact on this thing, and stuff like that. But at the same time, no matter what, Roman's shadow is going to be larger than his. You know what I mean? I mean, of course, I know that people, since like I was listening to Kaz's, Kaz Shoemaker's podcast, and talking comparing, Roman and Cody versus, compared to like Brock versus Austin, Brett versus Shawn, things like that. While that may be the closest rival that Roman kind of has right now, because the story with him and Seth Rollins hasn't fully materialized the way that it could. And if you want to make a case as Roman's new top dance rival, you could very well make a case for Cody. But at the same time, it's just like whether it's Cody as champion, whether you look at the Team Move Bloodline, as they call them, aka the Midline, this new incarnation of the Bloodline. No matter what, everything is still in Roman Reigns' shadow. We're living in, it's kind of like the Roman Reigns effect. And so and like I say, for him to make the return that he did, I mean, like I said, if anything, it just speaks volumes. And of course, I don't want to have to belabor and make this, like I said, make this episode long-winded or anything like that. But but I just wanted to, just really wanted to kind of like emphasize that, and just and just share my thoughts about Roman's dominance, Roman's greatness, and just how much of a legend he has evolved into. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Like, see that I would not stop sort of singing Roman's praises, if you will. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, like I said, I would say that he has more. I would say he's more than earned it, right? And so, man, of course, by the way, for those that if you're watching by way of YouTube, go to youtube.com. Like I said, youtube.com/@VonRexford Jr. Please make sure to like and subscribe for more great content. Anyway, like I said, greatly appreciate it. Sorry for of course, once again, sorry about the cheap plug, if you will. But yeah, like as far as that, and so of course, with Monday Night Raw, it took place in Austin, Texas, which is the actual capital of Texas, by the way. So of course, the featured, the main things that are featured for that episode of Raw was the 2 out of 3 falls match with Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn. More on that later. Of course, you have Damage Control taking on, like I said, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark to determine the top contender for the women's tag titles. But first and foremost, Rhea Ripley kicked off Raw with a bang. You know what I mean? And of course, as far as that, I guess, this Judgment Day segment. Well, I would say like this, it was definitely a great sign of things to come for what we'll see for Monday night, and of course to open up with a recap of SummerSlam, focus on the dysfunction of the Judgment Day, and you're going to talk about dysfunctional family. That's exactly what they are. So of course, as far as that, and I was like, man, and we see, of course, to kick off Raw, we saw Judgment Day arriving at the arena earlier today, as well as the likes of Randy Orton, Sami Zayn, and Braun Breaker. And then, of course, Rhea Ripley makes her entrance and gets on the mic. And, like I said, Rhea wasted no time, zero chill at all. When she said that she had a lot of time to think about exactly what happened at SummerSlam and relive it in her head, thinking every last thing, that you can feel about it. Embarrassment, heartbreak, but right now, what she's feeling is pissed off. And so, and here's, I'll say it like this. I think this is definitely the most lethal line of the night. I think this is the part that really went the most viral. When Rhea said that Dominic stabbed her in the back, and then she says, "I'm pretty sure that you've heard this plenty of times, but it wasn't deep enough." I said, "Whoa, okay." I guess they're preparing themselves preparing themselves for Netflix, because Rhea chose violence with a line like that. Of course, we see Liv Morgan run away with the championship, but but the thing is, of course, she can't run forever, and Rhea says that she's really Rhea Bloody Ripley, and it's time that she remind both of them exactly who she is. And so, of course, Liv Morgan's voice rings out in the audience as she and Dominic appear up in the stands. And of course, she says she thinks Dom has some things they like to get off his chest. Of course, Dimebag Dom, or Dirty Dom, complains that of course, that Rhea tried to change him instead of just letting him be himself. How embarrassed it was to call her mommy, but now he's got a girl that can call him daddy. I was like, man, this is definitely you could say sort of like a guilty pleasure TV right now for a lot of people. This is definitely toxic TV. For those of you that are into that kind of thing anyway, this is definitely up your alley right now. But Dom is hilarious. Talks about how Liv gives him tendies whenever he wants, chicken tenders, by the way. Lets him play video games whenever he wants, WWE 2K24, obviously, and it just lets him be himself. And she did something that Rhea could never do, finally helped him be his deadbeat dad. And Rhea tells him that she's proud of him, actually. Watching him grow into the man he is today is one of her greatest accomplishments. And he finally did something for himself with one goal. But when it comes to his dad, she wanted him to beat him on his own, so there'd be no excuse. And then, of course, Rhea says she's making his own. Since he's making his own decisions like a man, I should be proud of that too. But the problem is that the last decision that he's going to make. And so, of course, after that, Liv Morgan starts taunting her, saying that like responds to a sloppy seconds chance, saying that she take Dom sloppy seconds anytime, Take sloppy seconds anytime. Now she's taking everything away from Rhea. So of course, Rhea said that she's taking a lot of weak links. That Liv's taking a lot of weak links from her, but she left her standing. She's gonna have to kill her to stop her from taking her down. And of course, Damian Priest shows up behind Dominic and Liv, almost like Undertaker or something, right? So he takes him out to the concourse, and Liv jumps on Damian's back to keep keep him from attacking Dominic even more. And then of course Carlito cuts off Damian Priest, but of course Damian sends it packing as they go to a commercial break. And of course, then Carlito and Damian. Of course, sorry about that. Of course, with that, Carlito and Damian end up having a match anyway. And like I said, like I said, the way this episode Raw, just started out, and it just completely chose violence. Of course, Damian Priest will end up making short work of Carlito by winning by pinfall with his choke slam known as South of Heaven. And so, of course, after that, JD McBobblehead attacks from behind, but ends up getting knocked out himself. Then Finn Balor and Dominic join in until Rhea's music hits, and the Judgment Day just flee. And so of course, JD McBobblehead gets a super kick that was meant for Finn Balor, and not only that, but he ends up getting chokes. He gets that South of Heaven choke slam, and so this is of course this is where Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley celebrate, and this is when they're officially officially crowned as the Terror Twins, if you will, and so as Priest and Ripley give each other a hug, Dominic comes off the top rope, but Damian makes sure that it doesn't catch them off guard as he grabs, of course, as he grabs, he grabs by the throat. Looks like he's about to give him a choke slam, but he just tosses him over to Ripley, who gives Dominic Dimebag Dom a riptide, or at least almost gave him a riptide. But Liv Morgan Liv Morgan came in for the save. So as far as that, then we see that Alpha Academy's hanging out with Ivy Nile, who's officially going to be part of I guess a part of American Made now, and of course Ivy Nile Rose chats with Maxine Dupree, about defecting to be wearing Chad Gable, but Maxine stays with Alpha Academy, and and of course later on, Maxine, I guess you could say, she's gonna end up regretting it, afterwards. Abby now goes on and choke her out later on anyway. But yeah, I guess I'm getting way too ahead of myself. But but of course after we come back after Raw comes back from a commercial, there's a wide VHS tape of Bo Dallas, all for his life, quote unquote, for you. And there's a recap of Odyssey Jones making his debut with the New Day, and then of course backstage we see Odyssey hanging out with the New Day, and Kofi tells Xavier that they're going to return the favor, being ringside for his match. The next up we see a squash match, with Odyssey Jones versus Vincent Winey. Of course, Vincent Winey's obviously a jobber who didn't stand a chance at all, and of course there are a lot of people online that they're trying figure out why his name's Winey, and I figure that's Triple H's way of being what I like to call petty Pendergrass towards of course towards Vince McMahon. The name's Vincent, so of course the WWE has historically had their way of being petty, and even the former CEO himself is no exception, right? They're equal opportunists when it comes to pettiness. In this match, was a perfect example of that. Of course, Odyssey wins with a spinning side slam, and of course, after the match, the Final Testament comes to stage, and Karrion Kross, cuts a very obvious promo. accuses Kofi of using Odyssey to replace Big E, but he tells Xavier that of course Xavier tells him it's not gonna work. He wants to fast forward to the point where they're gonna have a match, and of course of course Kofi doesn't want one better by insisting that there's a trios match with Found Testament versus New Day and Odyssey Jones. Of course, of course, Karrion Kross accepts, saying that his work's never done, and and the thing about it is that I believe that that there are going to be a lot of mixed feelings as far as far as Odyssey Jones being with the New Day, just because of the fact that that the New Day has typically been designed specifically for those three, and without having to make any changes. And if anything, that's what has always set the New Day apart from from these other these other all-time great factions. Because historically, when you look at these factions, they either break up, add new members, and just go these different like variations, versions of different versions of the team and things like that. Whereas with the New Day, their reputation has always been about standing together, being unified, never betraying each other, never having to add new members, things like that. And so, let me say it like this: even though the report's very grim when it comes to Big E's return, at the same time, New Day has always consisted of those three. Even when one is out, they still stay loyal to that original nucleus. Even it gets to the point where it's just two of them, and Big E is on the sidelines, support, right? They've built such a tight connection, a tight bond, a tight it's like a tight cord, 3-strand cord, kind of like a almost like a ball of yarn or something. It's just tightly knit. And that's how the New Day have always been. Like I said, that's what separates them from the Shield, because Seth Rollins was the one, he was the architect for the Shield's downfall. DX had a breakup. NWO got too big for themselves, and they got overcrowded. They became diluted to the point where, like I said, they became way too overcrowded for themselves, and to the point where they were just adding like 1,000 people to the group, that that type of thing, to the point where they had to branch off, to like Wolfpack, NWO Hollywood, and all this other type of stuff like that, right? So that was their biggest downfall. The Forcemen, they had several rotations. They even had Paul Roman in the group. Ugh. And like I say, Brian Pillman, Mongo McMichael, Voldemort, different iterations, right? Even if, as a matter of fact, even the Freebirds themselves had different iterations. But you would think that the New Day was different, right? But this is really testing that, and it's kind of like making them not that much different from every other faction in history. And you can tell that there is going to be a heel turn, whether it is Kofi with Odyssey or Xavier himself, because you could definitely tell the body language whenever Xavier is around Odyssey. And so much for the power of positivity now. But yeah, like I said, as far as that, of course, like when we cross that bridge, then then we'll see what comes out of it. But anyway, Adam Pearce apparently seems to be having a very positive conversation, with somebody when Drew McIntyre shows up. And so, where Pierce, says that CM Punk, is having travel issues, and he doesn't know if he doesn't know how he can help Drew. So, of course, McIntyre says he doesn't care about Punk. He just wants to know why Randy Orton is challenging for the title, and Drew promises to be on his best behavior. Best behavior. He was throwing his scout's honor. Like I said, of course, the Apple Academy made their entrance as Otis had a moment with NXT North American champion Oba Femi. Of course, who happened to be watching the ringside. And so that was a very interesting stare down, and more on that later when later when I cover NXT. But yeah, like I said, I don't want to make this long winded. But anyway, fast forward, we have Alpha Academy versus American Made, and the winners by pinfall are American Made, and of course this is where Ivy now chokes out Maxine Dupree on the announce desk. Of course, they'll open up for the crease to take advantage, and it went by way of pinfall. Then we have some of that. Of course, then we have Damage Control versus Pure Fusion Collective. Shannon Baszler and Zoe Stark. Honestly, my original choice for that name was actually Stud Patrol, but I guess they didn't want to go with that, even though they're going to Netflix anyway. So, but anyway, Damage Control versus Fusion Collective, or I still call them Stud Patrol. For a number one contenders match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, and of course, Damage Control win by disqualification. After that, we see Randy Orton make his entrance to the ring. He says 20 years ago this month was when he won the world title for the very first time. He became the youngest world champion in history, obviously referring to SummerSlam when he won the championship at the age of 24. Of course, that was against Voldemort, who's now vacant. But of course, Orton says in a few short weeks of Bash at Berlin, he says that history is going to repeat himself as he become a 15-time world heavyweight champion. This one, Gunther makes an entrance, and of course, Randy Orton tell everyone to remember this atmosphere, because in a few short weeks he's going to beat, of course, referring to Gunther. And his Friday nights won't be free anymore because Monday Night Raw will be his new home. And the ring general agrees that the moment will be memorialized. Talking about, of course, refers to Randy Orton's wasted potential. Talks down to him the same way he's talking down to Damian Priest. And I guess this is, Gunther's new gimmick, if you will. All about classism and shaming people. I guess at this point, pretty much. But but of course, Gunther talks about how they say the era of the ring general, and his era there's going to be no room for wasted potential, and it says that that Randy's going to have no further role to play in this era. So of course, Randy reintroduced himself as the most unpredictable, violent, successful superstar in the history of the game. Of course, Gunther disagrees. He's actually very predictable, and he's going to predict a few things. One, he says he's going to give him the beating of a lifetime in Berlin. Number two, because of that, Randy will never be a champion ever again. And he says it's time he says it as it comes naturally to Randy Orton, because his grandfather and father were both screw-ups, and he's no different. Matter of fact, Gunther goes even further and says that Orton's the biggest screw-up of them all. And then this is when Drew McIntyre's music plays. And of course, Drew McIntyre was a great distraction, great swerve. As CM Punk comes out as well, and so of course because of that, all right, sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, yes, so and like I said, and sorry about that, and of course because of that, it's another much needed distraction, as Gunther let his guard down, something that you never ever do when you're in the ring with Randall Keith Orton, because the Viper struck with RKO out of nowhere on Gunther. Meanwhile, you have the ringside chaos between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. and of course, of course, like I said, Randy Orton hits RKO on Gunther. Meanwhile, Drew McIntyre, lays out CM Punk with a headbutt, and then of course you see a Sheamus interview backstage, and of course he doesn't understand why Pete Dunne has so much beef with him, and then of course he confirmed by Kaiser, only for Pete Dunne to attack Sheamus from behind with the shillelagh, and of course we see Awesome Truth make their way to the ring, and so of course R-Truth tells Miz that they talked to Adam Pearce and set up a match between him and Braun Breaker, only it's actually Bronson Reed, and it's instead of Braun Breaker. So of course Miz is terrified. He's like as far as he's like hey, there's no way, and so of course Miz goes out to the ring, and so of course R-Truth as Randy Orton if he thinks Miz stands a chance, and Orton's like not really but of course obviously Bronson Reed wins with a 747 splash, and at first I didn't get why my Perfect Plex co-host Knox kept comparing him to Vader, but now slowly but surely I can kind of see why, because this dude Bronson Reed, for a guy his size, is amazing. It's like saying Bronson Reed with his dominance, and of course catch Miz with a Death Valley driver, and of course off the top rope he hits with a 747 splash. So if you thought that what Bronson Reed did was messed up to the Miz, look what he ends up doing to R-Truth. And I mean, you want to talk about punishment? You want to talk about utter annihilation and absolute chaos? This is what Bronson Reed unleashed on R-Truth. Lays him out the crossbody before going to the top rope with 747 splash on R-Truth as well. So then this is so of course with this was when we see everybody from the road agents, the refs, even Adam Pearce comes to the ring as Bronson Reed keeps hitting splashes. This is part of the tsunami count. Like how King Kong Bundy used to have the 5 count, Bronson Reed has the tsunami count. So he hits R-Truth with not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, and I counted it was 5 747 splashes. I mean, and the thing is, after the 4th, the fans start chanting one more time, one more time, one more time, and of course, he delivers, nails R-Truth with 5 splashes, fractures his ribs, everything. I mean, he laid him out. The national treasure was broken, courtesy of Bronson Reed. And so, of course, last but not least, we have an amazing 2 out of 3 falls. You guys saying amazing 2 out of 3 falls. 2 out of 3 falls match for the Intercontinental Championship. You just see with Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn a rematch. So Sami Zayn gets the first pinfall. Gets the first pinfall with the haluva kick when we slam. But anyway, like I said, Sami Zayn gets the first pinfall with the haluva kick going up 1-0. Of course, Braun Breaker is unreal. His athleticism is absolutely unreal, but at the same time, it's genetic. I mean, if you look at what the Steiner brothers have done, and if anything, he's definitely pull out that treasure chest with the Frankensteiners and all kind of different stuff, military press, power slam, you name it. I mean, like his arsenal is like it knows no boundaries. But anyway, Braun Breaker wins with the second pinfall. Wins with the second pinfall. Wins the second pinfall with the spear. Excuse me. Like I said, Braun Breaker gets the second pinfall with the spear, ties the series up 1-1, and then, of course, as a matter of fact, my favorite moment of this match is in the end when Braun Breaker hits Sami Zayn mid-air with a spear for the final pinfall, going 2-1 and retaining the WWE Intercontinental Championship. This was a great match to witness. An absolute thrill. about that. But yeah, like I say, as a matter of fact, you know, not too far from wrapping the show up, if you will. And so I'm going to go into the last thing I want to cover is NXT. And like I said, like each of these shows when it comes to the week in wrestling have been explosive. And so Wesley run Joe Hendry's attempt to challenge Ethan Page, like for the NXT Championship. And and the thing is, Joe Hendry tried to lay claim to the NXT Championship shot, but Ethan Page dismissed him and walked out. Then of course Wesley super kicked Hendry, and Ethan Page, of course he definitely carried this segment with his facial expressions, and he continues to stand out and carry himself as a champion. And so of course, Ethan Page versus Joe Hendry was an inevitable match. After TNA started defeated him and Shawn Spears in July alongside Trick Williams in that tag match, of course. So of course naturally, like sorry about that. Of course naturally that's what caused it. That's what gonna cause the intrigue anyway. But anyway, like I said, as far as that, next up we have the Heritage Cup match with Tony D'Angelo defending against Charlie Dempsey. Your winner and the new NXT Heritage Cup champion, is Charlie Dempsey. Then after that, we have Eddie Thorpe versus Lexis King. And of course, Lexis King wins by way of pinfall. Next up, we have Lola Vice versus Tatum Paxley. Winner of this match, Lola Vice. Then we have of course we have Wesley challenging Zachary Wentz to a match of No Mercy, and Wesley aired out his grievances, talking about how he was tired of having to pay their way, having to pay everybody else's way, having to give rides and just giving everything of himself to making sure that the MSK worked as a team. So Wesley went into his full Shawn Michaels, Seth Rollins mode. And at the end of the promo, he gave the most savage line that you could give. When he said, "I wish you the best on your future endeavors." I said, oof, savage right there. This is must-see television. Wesley has taken notes and has learned from the absolute best. Seth, like I said, he's definitely taking notes from the likes of Shawn Michaels and Seth Rollins. And of course, it only pays that HBK himself, is the one that's booking NXT anyway, right? Like I said, during the segment, he talked about his issues with Zach Wentz. May feel like Trey Miguel was barely a factor despite taking the first super kick last week. Of course, NXT General Manager Ava announced a 6-woman No Mercy Gauntlet eliminator match next week to find the next challenger for Roxanne Perez. And of course, we have Ren Sinclair, Adriana Rizzo, and Sol Ruka were chosen as at random for the gauntlet. And of course, Mr. Stone and Stevie Turner argued over whose idea was. And then we have Jada Parker, Kendall Gray, and Carmen Petrovic got the final spots. And of course, Lash Legend, Jakara Jackson, Fallon Henley, and JC Jane argue over who deserved the title shot. And of course, you have Brooks Jensen, kind of promo talking about Shawn Spears' mentor. And we have Idris No Family, Malik Blade said they needed to do something to help Brooks Jensen. And so as far, and of course, Ava had one more announcement for next week. That number one contender triple threat match was going to be for the NXT Championship between Wesley, Pete Dunne, and Joe Hendry. And of course, we have as a matter of fact, we also have had an amazing North American Championship match. Something I definitely want to get into. Between Femi and Otis. And I must say that Otis brought his A game. Like I said. The thing is, I haven't seen Otis that intense like that in a long time. I haven't seen Otis perform like that probably ever. If anything, in a long time. It's just the atmosphere in NXT is obviously completely different from that on the main roster. Main roster Otis is totally different from NXT Otis, and and of course it's very evident in this match, right? And so of course, as he was motivated by having Maxine Dupree and Kara Tozawa at ringside, Otis nearly took the win with the worm and Invader Bomb. If you look carefully, Otis's colors were red and black. They look very his tights look very similar to that of Vader. So I could definitely see the tribute. RIP to Vader, by the way, one of the greatest big men of all time in wrestling history. But but like I said, the match was great. And like I said, they definitely took each other to the limit. However, Obafemi would get the last laugh as he kicked out of the Vader Bomb and responded with a huge power bomb, to claim the victory and to retain the North American Championship. And so, of course, this is definitely the most fun match of the night. Like I said, this is definitely my favorite match of the night. And of course, as Otis delivered in big moments like this, a huge moment like this one. It's just like they definitely forced Obafemi to really reach into his bag, if you will. Obafemi is definitely the most compelling figure in NXT, and he carries the North American Championship like it's the NXT Championship. The thing about it is that Oba is definitely looking for new dance partners, and as a matter of fact, one by one, piece by piece, he's constantly knocking these opponents down. He's just constantly running through the competition. And then we have Izzy Dame versus Brinley Reese. The winner by pinfall, Izzy Dame. Then we have the NXT Championship match, NXT Tag Team Championship match with Nathan Frazier Axiom versus Chase U. And the winners and new NXT Tag Team Champions, Chase U. And so that does it for my, that does it for my review of NXT, or just the weekend wrestling in general. So once again, I definitely, of course, with all that to the side, I want to take this time to congratulate Team USA, the Avengers, LeBron, Katie, and Steph for a phenomenal final game to win the gold. This was definitely one for the ages, and they absolutely earned it. For all three of them to play together on one team, even at this stage of their careers, they just turned back the clock, and it was something amazing to see. And of course, congratulations to the women's basketball team for capturing Olympic gold. Congratulations to Simone Biles. Congratulations, to the women's gymnastics team, the women's track team, the men's track team, just Team USA, the way that they came out in full force. And just the way that they carried our country with honor, carried us on their back. That breakdancing BS side, that's the only blemish really, but everything else was amazing to see. And this is, I would say, is probably like the best Olympics that I've seen in a long time, probably since 2016. We had the likes of Usain Bolt and Michael Phelps. This, like I said, without question, this definitely been the best I've seen in a while. And and of course, it just to see Snoop as a commentator and just as an ambassador for the Olympics. This dude went for, the fact that that progress has been made anytime a Crip is carrying the Olympic torch. That we're in completely different territory. This is, like I said, this is a completely new day, if you will. And not only that, it only makes sense that Snoop was the ambassador for this year's Olympics in Paris, because in 4 years, The Olympics will be in LA in 2028. I can't wait. I'm excited. You know what I mean? Um, like I said, once again, congratulations to Team USA, both for the men and the women. Um, Especially when it comes to women. Like my favorite WNBA player is Aja Wilson anyway. So congrats to her for taking home Olympic gold. And like I say, everyone who has played a critical part, like I say, from Sha'Carri Richardson, Simone Biles, Noah Lyles, you know what I mean, and like I said, it just as a collective, I couldn't have been more proud. And finally, I want to address some of the some of the news that came out with with this year's D23. We see the official transformation of Red Hulk for Captain America: Brave New World, which comes out in February. Like I say, not just that, but especially since Red Hulk is going to be in the Thunderbolts series, Thunderbolts movie. And of course, I saw something online. Where there was a leaked footage of Sentry. Apparently he's going to make an appearance in the movie, whatever. I mean, so of course, like I said, as a matter of fact, Red Hulk is critical for Thunderbolts anyway. Not only that, like I said, not only from the Marvel side, but also from the Disney side, it's been announced that we're going to get Incredibles 3, Toy Story 5, Frozen 3, as well as Marvel Zombies, along with, I guess there's a new iteration of Daredevil. Matter of fact, the series about Agatha as well. So if anything, there's a lot of stuff headed down the pike when it comes to Disney, when it comes to Marvel, and just that empire overall in general. So that pretty much does it when it comes to this podcast, and of course, as I always like to do. As a matter of fact, before I go any further, I also want to also want to mention also want to give a plug and mention the latest merchandise with of course that's on the website now with the DX Runs WWE shirt. HBK Triple H was a tribute to Run DMC. Please make sure you get that on victoriousones.bigcartel.com, available for pre-order. And like I said, look forward to having even more merchandise coming up in the future as well. And so of course, anyway, after anyway, of course, I have that cheap plug. I definitely want to give birthday shout outs. Matter of fact, on August 11th, Thor himself, Chris Hemsworth, turned 41. I also want to give a happy belated birthday shout out to a friend of mine named Terrence Shingler, who also turned 41 as well. Of course, once again, I also as I gave Corey a shout out for August 12th, and of course, along with the other birthdays, August 14th, Lakers icon, the greatest point guard of all time, Magic Johnson, turned 65 on August 14th. As of today, by the way. On the same day, Kofi Kingston turns 43. Of course, Halle Berry turns 58. Bob Backlund turns 75. Steve Martin turns 79. On August 15th, the late great Nipsey Hussle would have turned 39. Bobby Caldwell would have turned 73. And so of course, former Fox 5 News anchor Jeanette Reyes turns 35. On August 16th, Angela Bassett turns 66. Madonna turns 66 as well. On August 17th, would have been Marcus Garvey's birthday. And of course, on that same day, Robert De Niro turns 81. And before I go, I would like to give a word of wisdom, is that as God has reconciled us to himself through Jesus, he wants us to tell others about him so they can be reconciled as well. So think about, even though God has reconciled us, He wants us to pay it forward and do the same thing for other people. And of course, thank you very much for watching or listening. You're victorious because greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. When you put God in first place, you don't have to worry about being in last place. Please make sure to listen to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or anywhere else that you download podcasts. Thank you very much for listening and watching as well. And may this day be the very best day of your life.